Welcome to the Compose Create Music Party of the Decade. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this replay. I've edited it just for you, just to make it more concise and helpful. So here we go. All right, we'll just start in and I'll leave the chat open so that we can see you. Thank you so much. Everybody's saying no worries at all. Being live is such a joy, sarcastically, I agree. But thank you so much. You guys are just as forgiving as the people, as the teachers this morning. So thank you for that. Let's start the party now, okay? So at the end of last year, I thought, I really want to have a webinar for the brand new music that's coming out because I'm really excited about it. And so I knew I was going to do this, but then I realized, oh my goodness, it's 2020 and it hadn't dawned on me yet. This is the end of the decade. Let's make this a big thing. Let's make it a party for teachers, something that they'll have fun and they'll get energy from as they're choosing music, and maybe give away a few things. So what we're going to do is we're going to give all of you that are here live a gift at the end. So hang tight at the end. I'll show you how you can do that. We're also going to do drawings for $15 coupon codes that you can use towards anything in the store, and that's for the people at the end who are here live. Then we're going to have some party trivia for another set of $15 gift cards, and whoever gets the first correct answer will be entered into a separate bowl, and so there'll be a small number of teachers in that bowl, and we'll draw some names for that for some more $15 gift cards. So hopefully this will make it even more fun as we share this time together. Lots of trivia are throughout the webinar. I'm going to do like 2 or 3 questions at a time. So just have your chat window open and be ready to just say whatever pops into your head as what might be the answer. And then the drawings are at the end. You have to be present to win. Okay, so first question. Here's the party trivia. These are all trivia questions about some of our history. Here it is. The trivia question is, what is the tagline for ComposeCreate.com? Now, this is something that you guys have been telling us that I produce for years, and we finally got a registered trademark for it, and so it's officially ours now. So we're very excited about it. It's 3 words. So that's a big hint, and Hannah just got it. Looks like Hannah's the first person, or maybe it's Janelle. Oh, excuse me. I better leave that to the moderator to decide who is the first person. Janelle said, music hit kids love. And that is what I strive to only produce, music that kids love. Now, of course, I like to produce music that teens and adults love too. But in general, that's my goal, is just finding music that really connects with students. Okay, next question. In 2020, how many years will we have been offering online teaching resources, articles, or music? What anniversary will we be having in 2020? We used to be called, or I used to be called, wendyspianostudio.com. So if you have been around that long, you've been around for quite a while. Oh, somebody already got it. It took a long time in the first webinar, but yeah, we've been around for actually 20 years. And I started writing blog posts and articles and actually selling games first when I first came on the air, or not the air, but the web. But it's been 20 years. So I think that after 20 years, we should have a big party for that too, don't you? So we'll see what we can do with that, and hopefully we'll get some better software that works better than this. Okay, so what I want to do right now is talk about obviously the new releases, and I also want to talk about the top 10 pieces of the last decade. But when I went to put together the top 10 pieces of the last decade, I realized, oh no, Wendy, if you've got a piece that has been a top seller since 8 years ago, that piece is always going to outperform what's a top seller in the last 2 years. And you've got some really popular pieces in those two years. So instead, what I decided was I was going to also have just a small little subdivision of top 4 pieces from the last 2 years. And so these are the top 4 pieces in the last 2 years. And these have all been tremendous helps for students and teachers, but for different reasons. They're very different pieces. And so I want to show you these pieces real quick. All right, I Want Some Water is a wrote and reading piece, and it's from the Canadian Adventure series. So there's 3 pieces in this particular series that are wrote and reading. This particular piece you get two versions. One version with the lyrics, I want some water, bum, 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 I want some water, bum, 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 I want some water. And then another version that doesn't have the lyrics, and that's for your students that might be a little distracted by those extra things on the page. Again, like I said, it's rote and reading. And the thing about the reason we call it rote and reading is this piece is easy to teach by rote because it's got all these patterns that repeat and such things. However, we want you to use the music because that helps students transition into reading music. And so when you can point to the music and say, okay, what does it do now? Does it move up or does it move down? Then suddenly you're teaching them that the notes on the page have to be translated, or the notes on the page are a signal to them about what to do. And so when you use both of them, it really helps students to learn how to read more effectively. It's very easy and very catchy. You're going to find yourself singing this over and over again. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a video of this so you can see how to use it or you see what it sounds like. Lori says it's a fabulous piece. My beginners all love to learn this piece. They're excited to see the patterns and realize how easy it is to play something that sounds so good. So here is I Want Some Water. So that's I Want Some Water. Catchy. I'm probably going to play lots more music, or I am going to play lots more music for you, so it won't stay in your head too long tonight. But if you've ever taught this piece before, it definitely sticks in your head, but you want it to do that because if they're going to learn it by rote with some of these visual cues, you really want this to stand out in their head that can be something that they can remember. Okay, the next piece that's been super popular in the last 2 years is unicorn gliding. Now this piece, it only uses steps and skips, and so it's a great piece if you're teaching those concepts to your young students. Very easy hand crossings are in this piece, and your left hand always crosses to the same note in the right hand, so it's easy to remember what that note is. And then, as you know, we don't want students to get stuck in middle C position, so it actually helps them to get out of that by moving the right hand thumb to an E, and which might seem kind of hard to students at first, but when they see that that right hand just plays skips and repeated notes, it becomes very easy and very comfortable for them, and so they don't get stuck in that middle C position. So here is unicorn gliding. So that's unicorn gliding. Someone mentioned in the chat that they're waiting for the third piece. This is a part of a mystical creatures. We call it the mystical creatures series. And we have mermaid gliding, or mermaid wishes, unicorn gliding. There's another one coming this fall. So that's pretty exciting. Each of these pieces has a bonus coloring page. And again, this is all a studio license, so you can print this for as many times as you need for students you directly teach. So all of those come with that. Virginia says, my students are loving it. Kathy says, my younger girl students love this piece, all of them. Unicorns are a big deal to them. And so they're thrilled to have music about something that's significant in their young lives. And they also love being able to use the pedal and hear how wonderful it makes the music sound. Furthermore, the music isn't complicated, so they can easily learn it in a week or two. Great music for the win. So that's unicorn gliding. That's definitely one of the popular pieces of the last 2 years. Now, the next piece, A Distant Blue, is late elementary. And this is one of those pieces that just appeals to all ages of deep and emotionally just involved students. Especially teens and adults love the sound of the depth of emotion. And it uses a mystical sound that's often found in movies because of the scale that's used. And so this is just one that sounds very contemporary, and I think that's why it's been very popular. The hand, again, always crosses to the same note, so the hand crossing is easy. It's perfect for students who feel deeply, and we've got tons of 5-star reviews for this one. This one is just one of those that if you want a piece that's going to work at all levels, adult, child, this is one of those pieces that's just a winner for students who really like this beautiful kind of music. Okay, so here is A Distant Blue. So that is A Distant Blue. Jeff says, I love this piece. I enjoy playing it myself. I assigned it to an 8-year-old and a 65-year-old, and both came back the next week ready to show me what they had accomplished. It has that unique quality to appeal to all ages. The sound is sophisticated yet straightforward. And then Kathleen says, I love this piece. In my opinion, it's one of Wendy's best offerings. I admit to playing it through a bunch of times right after I downloaded it and before showing it to students. It's that good. I've given it to 2 beginner type adults, a 9-year-old, and I suspect it would appeal to elementary teen students. It has a timeless meditative quality and, as usual, rhythmic and melodic patterns that are easy to teach by rote or reading. The beautiful cover is just icing on the cake. I want to put it on the wall of my studio to remind me to take a break now and then into the distant blue. And that's what part of what I want for a lot of my music is to also speak to you and to give you energy as you're teaching during your day. So I hope that this piece does that for you. Now, the fourth piece in the 4 pieces of the top 2 years is my personal favorite. It's The Shadow Passes. And I think that it captures the depth of human emotion from the saddest moments to the most full and glorious moments that we have as humans. I told my husband after I had composed this that this is the piece that I would like somebody to play at my funeral. And I told him that there's plenty of teachers that I know that can play it and would be happy to play it. So so he's got plenty of choices for that. But this piece is uniquely comforting. I'll show you in a minute how some teachers are using it. It's also retroactively inspired. I'll just tell you the story behind this. I worked on this for a while, and I worked on it. I knew it was beautiful. I knew it was something from the depths of my heart, but it just didn't come at first. And so I would set it aside, and then I'd bring it back a couple minutes later, and it took a long time. And finally, when it was done, I was so moved by the piece. Every time I played it, I cried, and yet I still didn't know what it was about, and I still had no idea what the title should be. Well, soon after I finished it, one of my dear friends lost one of her sisters to in death, and she was mentally, intellectually disabled, like my brother is. And as soon as I found out that she had died, I was just heartbroken for her because it was so personal to me. And then I realized that that's what this piece is about. This piece is about a life beautifully lived, even with all of the things in it that we don't feel like are fair, or the things that are sad and just not good. It's just about that beauty that comes in each of our lives, that opportunity that we have to take the good and the bad and have it become a beautiful tapestry. In this particular piece, even though I know a lot of teachers are using it, fingering is included, especially for students if they're going to use it. And then you get a free MP3 recording with this, so that that you can make it easier for students to learn, and maybe even just so that you'll be blessed by the sound of it. So here is just a little bit of the shadow passes. The shadow passes goes on just a little bit more, but it sounds like it's still connecting with teachers. I was reading the chat, and I'm so glad for that. It comes deep from within me, and I'm just glad that it can just be helpful to you as well. Judy says this piece is a treasure. She uses it for a church prelude or offertory, and it's become one of her therapy pieces that she plays when she needs to recenter her heart or her brain, or after a piano student has had a rough lesson. Kay says, I use the shadow passes for our Ash Wednesday service and receive compliments on it. I never thought about using it for that, but I think that's a great way to use it, and I hope that you can find many different ways to bless people through your playing of it. So that's the shadow passes. Now, those are the top 4 pieces in the 2018-2019. And like I said, we're going to have a special deal at the end where you can get this at an even bigger discounted price than just the sale price that usually comes out when a piece is first released. So let's transition and do just a little bit more party trivia. So make sure that your chat window is open. All right. The next question is, what was Wendy's first published piece with Hal Leonard? Now, you're used to compose, create pieces, but some of my music is also published with Hal Leonard, or has been. And so what was the first piece that you know of that was published by Hal Leonard? It was a piece of sheet music, if that's a little bit of a hint. Yes, Mary got it first. I believe you were the first one. Sometimes it's hard to see when lots of people put it in there, but Twister. Twister is a level 3 piece. There's no eighth notes. It's a fast-paced piece, very exciting for students. But that was the first piece that was published by Hal Leonard. All right, next one. In what country were the Tasty Tunes, Sneezes, Snorts, and Sniffles, and Black Key Blast books published in 2019? Now, these are all music that's published by Willis / Hal Leonard. But in 2019, there was a company in a different country that translated them. And somebody I see got it. Looks like maybe Deborah. Again, everything moves so fast with the chat. But whoever said Japan first actually got that one right. So these are the Japanese editions of those 3 books. And those are sold over in Japan. And lots of students, it sounds like, are enjoying those. So it was very exciting to have that happen. So those are the next 2 trivia questions. All right, we'll have more in just a bit. Now what I'd like to do is talk about our 2020 new releases. Now, when I say 2020, I don't mean the entire year. As you know, we'll come out with all kinds of music during the year. But these are all the releases we're going to have during January and February of this year. And I want to talk about these individually and then tell you about them as a whole. All right. The first piece is Prairie Creek Sunrise, and this is actually part of a series of music that I've been really having fun working on for older beginners, like teenagers and older elementary students, and especially adults. Music that really connects with them and doesn't sound childish at all, but sounds very mature, even though it's very simple to play. So it features a mature sound, and it's not in middle or C position, so it gets them out of that position in a very comfortable way. There's just a few pedal changes in it, but the pedal lasts a long time, so they don't have to worry about a whole bunch of times where they have to, play a pedal for every measure that's played. Again, like I said, it's part of the In Beautiful Places series that we have going. These are the other 3 pieces, or the 3 pieces that are currently in the series. And about In Miller's Meadow, Megan says, this piece is a real winner. I have it going 4 different people, 3 adults and a teenager, and everyone loves it. It's such a nice balance between easy and interesting, and also sounds terrific. The comments are awesome, beautiful, fun, surprising, and others in that vein. And that is just music to my ears, because that's exactly what I want for this piece. For those beginning students, they don't need to sound like a baby or a child when they're playing. They need music that makes them sound mature. And that's my goal for these 3 pieces in this whole series. So here is Prairie Creek Sunrise, brand new. So that's Prairie Creek Sunrise, and that's one of the brand new pieces that we've brought out today. All right, Cascading is another new piece, and this piece is about that miraculous current of beauty that's above and beneath and that surrounds us every day. Whether we hear it, whether we see it, whether we find it, it's there, and it's almost waiting to be discovered, because it's just this current that keeps coming and keeps giving to us and keeps being generous to us in our lives. The piece features a mature and sophisticated sound, but it falls really easily under the hands. The right hand is in a beautiful, easy 5-finger G position, and then the left hand takes care of hand crossing to get this really beautiful sort of enveloping effect. It's very passionate, and the patterns make it easy for intermediate students to play. So here is Cascading, one of the new pieces from the 2020 new releases. All right, so that's Cascading, and that's one of our new releases. All right, the next series of pieces is a new series we've brought out because you have been asking for years now for pet pieces. So we're going to do, or I'm going to do, a pet shop series. And these are the first 3 pieces in the series. I'm going to build on them in the years to come, but there's 3 pieces about a cat, dog, and a fish. I am super excited about this cat song. I had the most fun coming up with the lyrics for this song. It features hilarious lyrics. There's lots of staccato and legato markings, so it's a great teaching piece. It's an easy intro to several flats because they always fall under the hands, and they're always in the same place. They're not in the key signature, so students can simply find the hand position and just kind of stay there. And then it features lots of moving around the piano that students feel very empowered when they do that. They feel like they can really that they're really, arriving somewhere when they're using the entire piano. So here's Fuzzy Facts. Listen to the lyrics very closely, and hopefully you'll get a chuckle.
A cat is the bestest of all the creatures in houses so large and so small. The science is true, I'll show it to you. The cat is the bestest of all. Now owning a kitty can lower your stress. Your cortisol levels will surely be less when you...
Fuzzy Facts is a hilarious elementary solo about scientific proof that cats are good for your health and happiness.
And you'll have a life of success. You'll be more attractive when you have a cat. The science is clear when I find where it's at. I'm not sure just why.
Pet lovers will love this Pet Shop piano series with fun solos about all kinds of pets.
I'll get back to you.
Get Fuzzy Facts as an immediate download only from composecreate.com. Sorry that the voiceovers were still on that. I redid the video today for some reason, and I used the wrong video, and so you got the voiceovers like I was putting it on Facebook or something, so I apologize for that. But hopefully you got the gist of the scientific reasons that you should have a cat. So cat lovers hopefully will love this, and you'll have lots of opportunities to use this in your song because lots of people have cats. All right, the next piece is called Go With You, and this is about a dog, and the dog actually sings the lyrics to the owner. Each hand plays the melody, plays a part of the melody, so it's good for establishing that left hand so that the right hand's not always dominant in playing those melodies. The left hand gets to articulate that. And then there's a harmonic section where they both play together in the middle. There's an optional pedal in the middle section, and if you leave it out, it actually sounds pretty good, even with it left out. And then there's an exciting glissando in it. I promise it's the only piece that I've used a glissando in this new release section, but it's a lot of fun and I think appropriately used here. Don't forget though to use a use an index card with your glissando. All right, so here's Go With You.
I want to go with you. I'll learn to read and to write. I want to go with you. I'll study extra at night. I want to go with you. I'll learn to count with my treats. I want to go with you. Why can't you hide me under your seat? Underneath is fine, but if it's much too small, I'll find a bigger spot to fit to fit a bit more comfortably. Just wait and see. I need to go with you. I'll learn to read and to write. I need to go with you. I'll study extra at night. I need to go with you. I'll even give up my treats. I need to go with you. Why can't you hide me under your seat? Under your seat.
All right, so hopefully that one made you smile as well. All right, the last piece in this series so far is Through the Glass. And this I wrote to give more of that warm, fuzzy feeling that is missing when you have a fish, or you can't hug it, you can't pet it. And it just feels like it's missing this tenderness that you often have with a cat and a dog. And so this piece is a tender piece about a fish. It's not in C position. It's in an E major 5-finger position, but I don't think they'll think it's hard. Chopin, I think it was, is the one that said that E major was the key that fit so nicely under students' hands. It uses the pedal, but it doesn't use it too often. Still, it might be appropriate for elementary to late elementary in there. It's got lots of lyrical melodies, and it moves around the piano as you would expect. We want our students to get comfortable doing that. So here is the tender piece called Through the Glass.
The water keeps us far apart. I hold you closely in my heart. I want to tell you everything I feel. When I'm smiling through the glass, I hope you know I try to pass the happiness you bring. It's very real. I watch your fins work fast and free. You watch my life unselfishly. I love that you know everything I feel.
So that is Through the Glass. And those are our 5 new releases that we're releasing in January and February. We will have an exciting piece that we're releasing in March that's a commissioned piece, and it's got, well, I can't tell you what it's got in it, but it's really, really exciting. So for now, though, January and February, these are our 5 new releases. And like I said, if you purchase these as a bundle, it's an even better deal than if you just purchase them individually, even if you get them all on sale. So I'll tell you how to do that here at the end. All right, are you guys ready for some more party trivia? All right, so here we go. The next question in our party of trivia, get your chat window open and ready to say something, is what is the name of the cup tapping rhythm curriculum published on composecreate.com? You have to have all 3 words. So whoever can write out all 3 words is going to be the winner. So what is the cup tapping rhythm curriculum that we've published? Most people know us for this. You got to get all 3 words. Oh, you got to get all 3 words. I'll let the moderator decide who the person is that won that one. But obviously the answer is Rhythm Cup Exploration. So the moderator can capture the person's email address that got that answer correctly. Are you ready for the next one? The next question is, what is the name of the comprehensive rhythm curriculum published on composecreate.com that is not cup-based? And it's 2 words. The first book in this series, it's 2 words. It's not cup-based, but it is a more comprehensive curriculum that's carefully graded and paced to help make sure that the students have enough material to ensure mastery for them. And yes, I see in there whoever guessed Rhythm Menagerie first got that correct. Rhythm Manipulations is the 2nd book in the series, but that curriculum series is the main curriculum series for rhythm. I think there's one more party trivia question in this section. We have some more at the end as well. What kind of license allows you to purchase a piece only one time and then use it for as many students as you directly teach? What is the name of that kind of license that we have had? And we sell most of our music this way. So yes, it's a studio license, and this enables you to use it for as many students are in your personal studio. If you have a multi-teacher studio, everybody would need their own studio license as a teacher, but you personally as a teacher can use it for all of your students that you teach in your studio. So you can use it over and over again. Okay. So now what we're going to do, the last thing we're going to do is the top 10 pieces of the decade. Now, actually, it's the top 12 pieces. And the reason is when I was looking at the top 10, one of them was a bundle. And so since a bundle has 3 pieces in it, it actually ends up being 12 pieces. Now, I have it all blurred out because at the very end, when we're guessing, or I'm going to number 1 and number 2 and number 1 of the top 10 pieces. I'm going to let you guess and see if you can figure out what those pieces are. Okay, so let's start with number 10. Number 10, top piece of the last decade, and it's still very, very popular, is Drastic Measures. Now, as I was telling the group this morning, I think Drastic Measures is only 10 and not higher up in the list because it's intermediate, and intermediate music just we sell less of it than we do of elementary music, simply because there's fewer intermediate students. But this is a very popular piece with teens and with preteens and anyone who wants a driving, very contemporary sounding piece. Students use this for talent shows and recitals. Teens love it. And then in this piece, there's a lot of syncopation in it, but the syncopation is super easy. It looks hard, but all it is right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And there's not this complicated, hold this note for 1.5 beats, and then this one comes in, and this one comes in, and you hold this one for a whole beat, but this one only gets a half beat. You know how that syncopation can be. This is just right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And it actually becomes very easy to play, even though it might look a little visually odd. So here is a little snippet of Drastic Measures. So I think you can probably see why that piece is so popular with teens. They really love it. Karen says, we love, love, love Drastic Measures. Mary says, very energizing for the guys. Sounds much harder than it really is. I find myself playing it as a warm-up. Love it. So that's number 10. Number 9 of the most popular music in the last decade is The Making of a Star. We brought this piece out actually in the big time of the solar eclipse. And actually, I didn't even time it that way. I didn't even write it for that reason. It just happened to come out then. It was very exciting. It's got this huge sound in it. It sounds hard, but it's easy. It's really easy to teach this intro by rote. And then you can see on line 2 and line 3 that this is very simple music in like a C position with some hand crossing. But when you teach that intro by rote and they play all over the piano, it sounds big, bold, and beautiful. And this is literally one of our most reviewed pieces, obviously very loved piece, but you'll see why students love this here in just a minute. So that's The Making of a Star. I really appreciate those of you who are putting comments in the chat window. It's one thing for me to tell you about a piece that I've written, but it's another thing for teachers to say how you're using it, how it's resonating with your students. I think that's helpful to other teachers, certainly encouraging to me, so thank you for doing that. Valerie says, this is the best way to see starry-eyed elementary students. Love, love, love this piece to expand the musical palette of an elementary student who traditionally plays in C position. And then Elizabeth says, I have children from age 8 to retired people in their 60s and beyond, absolutely loving this piece. So exciting for me to hear. It's been one of my favorites just to hear of students and how it's really empowering them to sound really big and making them feel just motivated to keep going. All right, number 8, the 8th most popular music of the decade is an arrangement of Amazing Grace. Now, this is an actual arrangement. This isn't just the right hand doing the melody and the left hand doing a broken chord or a block chord. This really is a thoughtful movement of a piece. I hope it's thoughtful. A movement of a piece from something simple to something developed and something that sounds like it really develops into a big idea. It uses easy positions for students. You really don't have to worry about your student playing that 8th note because everybody knows the tune of Amazing Grace. So don't worry if your student doesn't know how to play 8th notes. All ages love this, especially teens and adults, because they really feel like it's a mature sounding. So here is Amazing Grace. So you can see it develops into this big sound. The left hand just goes down and reaches down for that low C fifth, only 2, maybe 3 times, but it's very easy for the student to find, and they love the way it sounds, so they're very motivated to find it and to learn that part. Chris says, I bought Your Amazing Grace for my students taking lessons this summer, and they absolutely loved it. My later beginners felt proud they could play something that sounded more difficult than it was, and my early intermediates liked it because they could play it well after only a few practices. And I loved hearing this because I thought about how that really increases the value when you have a studio license, because your at-level students can play it, the students that need a challenge can play it, and then students that kind of need just an easy piece to do to make them feel like they can learn it in a couple of weeks, then that is just that many more students in your studio that you can use the same piece. Denise says, thank you for sharing this arrangement of Amazing Grace. My student sometimes gets bored with pieces and changes them to her liking, but she didn't do it with your arrangement. She plays every note with giddiness. So that's a lovely little story. We all have students like that. Okay, number 7, the 7th most popular piece of the decade is A Sacred Space. Now, this particular piece has lots of really interesting stories. It's one of those pieces that has had a life of its own, kind of like The Shadow Passes. And I just real quick want to read you this quick story that somebody sent to me about this piece. She said, I have an adult beginner who practices so hard. He's only been playing about 9 months, but I gave him this piece and he's really mastered it and plays it from memory. So last week, this guy was at a meeting in a hotel. None of his colleagues knows that he plays, but when they enter the reception, there's a grand piano in the room. Also about 100 people. The friend joked, play us a tune, Robert. So Robert takes off his jacket, sits down, and plays the piece for this packed audience, and at the end gets a great round of applause. Now, the twist in the tale is that Robert is a social worker who has to look after children in dangerous and abusive situations. The meeting was to decide about taking a young child from her family for her protection. Robert's solo took place just before the meeting began, and when everyone was seated, the head of the meeting called him out and thanked him for setting such a calm and wonderful energy in the room for the difficult challenge that they were about to face. So it's beautiful to hear that things are being used in that way. And so this is that kind of piece that just lots of stories like that are coming in. It's emotional, it's provocative, and mature students especially love this. So your older beginners, your older students who are now, I guess, in early intermediate, so preteens, teens, and especially adults really like the sound. So here's A Sacred Space. So that is A Sacred Space. Julie was mentioning something about playing it at a wedding of one of her former students. Julie, I think I had your testimonial on the next slide, and then I had to take it out just because I was short on time and I needed to cut some things. But lots of different uses for this particular piece. Teddy Carr says, I performed A Sacred Space in a memorial service for my adult student whose mother passed away. It's a perfect touch to a life well lived. Michelle says it was a pupil saver for one of her 80-year-old students who thought she was getting too old to play. She loves the song and now calls it her signature piece. And then Helen says she used it for her Easter communion. It was easy enough to learn very quickly and still allowed her to be worshipful as I played. So as somebody else said, the power of music is incredible. And this is just one of those pieces that's just taken off, and it's more than what I put into it. It has a beautiful life of its own, I think. Okay, number 6 in the top music of the decade is Buzzer Beater. Now, this piece has been on the NFMC 2016 to 2020 choice, and so I think it's still good for this year, and so lots of teachers have used it for that. It's obviously a sports-related theme, and so there's that whole thing going for it with students who love sports. There's lots of articulation contrast in here, so it's a great piece for teaching, for pedagogy. There's a short, easy improv section in here using just G's. So the student who's afraid of improvising, they don't have to be afraid when they can only use one note, but they can use it anywhere on the piano. They can do anything they want with it. So you'll see this on the video, how a student did this. You can also add a fun surprise at the end. So listen to this video. You don't have to do this, obviously, but it's kind of fun if you have a little app on your phone. It's kind of fun to do this. So here is Buzzer Beater. So if you have a little app on your phone that you can make that sound like it's the end of the game, that's kind of a fun thing to do. But it's very popular with students because of the sports theme. Karen says, love, love, love. Love your music. My boys really like Buzzer Beater. Actually, even the girls, I think it's their favorite. They love the part where they get to make it up. Anne says it's another fast-paced creative composition. The boys in my studio particularly love that they can play music about sports because that's what they love. And what student, boy or girl, doesn't like to play fast? The improvisation is especially fun. So I think it just makes it easy if you only have one note that you can do anything you want with and do it as long as you want. It's always fun to see what students come up with. Okay, number 5. The number 5 top music of the decade is the African Adventure series. And this is why I said there's actually 12 pieces because there's 3 in this series. So real quick, these are rote and reading pieces. It's a little rote and reading series, and it uses the entire piano. It's got a really big sound, and it helps the hands together coordination in an easy way because the left hand gets to play the same note. So it's fairly simple to get that going for a student who has trouble putting the hands together. So here's just a quick little snippet of African Safari. So that's just a fun piece. Lots of students use this, or lots of teachers use it. My 4th grade student played this at the end of our recital and left everyone on a high note. Actually, it was a low note, but as a matter of fact, 2 of my other students were asking to play the piece after the recital. So that's kind of fun to hear. And then Irma says African Safari is a huge hit. So another piece in this series that's also a top seller is Savannah Stock. And if there was just one rote and reading piece, I would tell you that's going to be popular with almost every student student, it would be this one. This one has a huge, big sound, but then it has this really beautiful, delicate sound. So if you have a student who has trouble making a delicate sound, all they can do is huge sounds, this piece is great for them because it makes them do that delicate sound. If you have a student that can only do the delicate sound, the piece is great for them because they have this opportunity to do this really big sound. It's big, but beautiful. All ages love this. Adults, teens, there's a great thing at the end of this video to show you a student who'd never had lessons before, a teenage student, and she was learning it. So here is Savannah Stock. Isn't that fun to see your students smile like that? This is just one of those pieces that just really works well because it can be taught so easily with the patterns, and it has that big emotional depth. Patty says, I just bought and downloaded Savannah Stock yesterday and already had the opportunity to teach one of my young students. I don't think I've ever seen a student that impressed with himself. And then Emily says, I've had 2 6th graders as beginners and they love the Bold Escape and Savannah Stock. And she actually had people rather arguing over who could play it at the recital. I don't like to start arguments, but that's kind of fun to hear. And then this is really interesting to me. I've had a number of music therapists talk about things like this with me, but Beth kind of summarizes this. I teach adult students with intellectual disabilities, and I'm thrilled to find this rote reading series. They're much more mature sounding than the preschool level lesson books I'm using to teach them to read music. Savannah Stock was the first one I tried, and it's been successful with several of my students. I love Wendy's creative arrangements that are easy to teach by rote. So that's especially exciting for me to know that it's reaching into all kinds of needs and meeting those. All right, and then Romp and Raid is the last piece in this little series of African adventures. It's exciting. It tells a riveting story, and the story is not written in, but you kind of just make it up as you go along because the music just says, oh, something's happening. And so you'll see this in this wonderful performance. I'm just going to have the student play this whole performance. This was sent to me by a teacher. Fantastic performance by Ian of Romp and Raid. Isn't that fun? Wouldn't we all wish to have a student that amazing? So that's Romp and Raid. Okay, and I'll just skip this one for the sake of time. Okay, so number 4 on the top music of the decade is Mob Bop. Now this is an audience participation piece. That's what that little icon with the people going like this is. It means the audience is going to participate with this. The music is written to interact with what the audience is doing. And then if you're worried, oh no, well my student will be used to the audience interacting, you get free MP3s at different tempos to help the student practice clapping. And so the audience is just going to go like this. And you're going to stand in front and behind the student and get them started and explain to them. There's instructions about exactly what to say. It's very driving. It's also good for monster concerts too. And you'll see Marie do this in one of her monster concerts. At the end of this, I'm trying to find it real quick. At the end of this video, you'll see all these students playing it. And she told me that her students begged to play it. She couldn't just pick one of them. And so they divided the music and had some students playing the bass clef and some students playing the top part. And then there's a whole bunch of pianos. You'll see it all. It's really exciting. The sky's the limit with Mob Bop, but take a look at what Marie Harris did with her students, where she performed it as an ensemble monster concert at a mall. When you do something like this at your recital, your audience sees that you are an amazingly creative teacher that is doing awesome things with their students, with your students and your students. They can tell your students are excited. It's this kind of thing that you can do, and just reinforcement that those students that are working with you. So it's really fun to just see just affirmation. It's just an affirmation of you as the teacher kind of piece. Linda says, my kids are absolutely loving Mob Bop. I've not seen my students so motivated for a while. Laura says this is a perfect piece for a student of mine who needs a little rock star status. And Brenda says, love, love, love the Mob Bop. Stopping and clapping. Parents and students alike had a very popular piece, and it's going to be really fun for you to do at your recitals. Okay, number 3, this particular piece, the third piece, top selling piece in the decade, is from Donegal Castle. And I'm sure that one of the reasons that it's very popular because it has that one to it, 2 editions, and the elementary edition has only quarter notes and half notes in it, so it's easy to read. The early intermediate looking edition is in compound meter. So it's a great way to teach and transition into compound meter, have them learn it one way and then say, look what you just played. And teach them the difference. There's not much difference except maybe a difference in tempo, but it's almost always steps and skips. And so a very, very easy for the students to, not easy for the students, but good for the students who have good facility in their fingers, or to develop that student's the facility in the fingers. So here is just a tiny bit of Escape from Donegal Castle. Here we go. Sorry, I couldn't find it for a second. Here we go. All right, so that's Escape from Donegal Castle. Personally, obviously, the way I was playing it was more what I would expect an early intermediate student to play it. I wouldn't play it that fast, or expect a student to play it that fast if they're playing from the elementary looking version. Claire says, I just shared this with 2 students that are waiting to be picked up, and they said, that's the best song I've ever heard. And then Julie says, my freshman high schooler was ready to quit taking piano lessons, and he loved this piece. He learned it in 1 week, and his mother told me that he plays the piano so much now, she has thought about telling him not to play so much. So that's really fun to know that it's that much of a student saver. Okay, are you ready for some trivia? All right, number 2. I would like you to try and guess what the number 2 most popular piece of the decade has been. So see if you can guess what the number 2 most popular piece of the decade has been without me giving you any hints. So far, no. Oh, yes, somebody just got it. Whoever answered Yeehaw first. It is the second most popular piece. Now, this piece is, again, another audience participation piece, only the pattern for this piece is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And of course, the teacher standing up there teaches that a couple times and they have it. The audience has it. But the music interacts, obviously, with that pattern. This is one of the NFMC 2016 to 2020 choices. It's energetic. There's lots of articulation. So it's great for teaching, great pedagogy piece. And again, you get free MP3s to give to the students so that they can practice with this clapping so that none of the clapping is a surprise to them. So here is just a quick video of Yeehaw. And this is actually going to have several examples of students doing this at a recital so you can see how they do it. Now, those were 2 entirely different tempos, but both of those were super successful performances. The audience loved it. The kids felt like $1 million. And it's just so exciting and fun to see the audience having fun as well as the students when they play this. Karen, this is one of the teachers in the video. She said, I just used this at my Western recital and it was a hit. My advanced high school students told me they enjoyed listening to Yeehaw the most of all the pieces. Yeehaw will add some fun to your next recital, so get it and try it out. And then Lori says, I wanted to let you know that my piano recital was Saturday and I decided to put Yeehaw as the grand finale. It was a big hit. My student enjoyed it so much that he and his mom are already thinking of having him perform it at his school talent show next year. So that's kind of a fun thing for students to do. These audience participation pieces are really good for that. Okay, number 1, what do you think the most popular piece of all time on Compose Create has been? The first person with the correct answer will get entered into the drawing. Yes, and somebody got it already. The Bold Escape. Yes, you guys probably know it because you're using it already. The Bold Escape is indeed the number 1 piece of the decade. I wrote this piece after I read the Wing Feather Saga with my 10-year-old son at the time. And we read that. Oh my goodness, we loved that series of books. If you want a series of books to read aloud to your kids, if they don't get scared easily, because these were cliffhangers. Every chapter was so exciting. Anyway, I highly recommend these books for students who like adventure and like, to be a little bit enchanted maybe, or just a little bit on the edge of their seat wondering what's going to happen next. Wonderful series. It's big, it's bold, it's beautiful. This is an exciting piece. It's very easy in C position, and you can teach the intro by rote so they don't even have to know all those notes in that first line of music. Very easy to be taught by rote. So here's a quick video of The Bold Escape. So that's The Bold Escape. Now, Lisa says The Bold Escape has engaged so many different students in my studio. They love it. It's helped perk up beginners, transfer students, students struggling in note reading, intervallic students, and advancing students who just needed an easy sight reading piece or a bit of fun added to their week. And then Melissa Willis says the best thing ever. She says The Bold Escape has my beginners feeling like they are concert pianists. And that's exactly what we want them to feel like, because you know, and I know, that when they feel like that, they're so much more interested in practicing because they can tell that they're getting better and they're inspired to continue. So that's the top 10 pieces of the decade. And remember, it's really 12 pieces altogether. So this week, what we're doing is we're offering special prices for these specific bundles and all individual pieces. So all the pieces and resources I've mentioned are digital and are studio licensed. Now, what that means is that you only have to purchase the piece one time, and then you can make as many prints as you ever need for students that you are personally directly teaching. Now, this is not a multi-teacher license, so even if you have multiple teachers in the same studio, only one teacher can use the studio license. But the amazing thing is that you as a teacher can make prints for as many students as you need, and you only ever have to purchase the piece one time. You can use it over and over again. So it's like getting an unlimited supply of music kids love. Now, all of these pieces mentioned are on sale this week, and they're on sale through Friday, January the 17th at 11:59 Central Standard Time. Our system rolls over at midnight, and that happens automatically, so there's unfortunately no way to do extensions. So if you're interested in any of these, definitely purchase them by that time. Now, individual pieces are 10% off, and big bundles are 15% off. Now, you can't swap out pieces in the big bundles, so if you already have pieces within a bundle, you'll want to purchase them individually, which is why we put them also on sale. You don't need a coupon at all because the prices are already discounted. So here's the first set that we're having as a big bundle sale. This is the 2020 January, February new releases. It would normally be $49.95, and it's on sale this week through Friday for $42.45. That's 15% off, so you can purchase those as a bundle for the best price. Now, to make it really easy to get to this, we made a special shortened URL. So all you need to do is type in composecreate.com/2020 bundle with no hyphens between, and that should get you directly to the page where you can then add to cart this 2020 bundle. The next special bundle that we have is our top 4 bundle. These are the top 4 pieces from the last 2 years, and that would normally be $39.96, and this week it's on sale for 15% off for $33.96. So if you want that, you simply have to type in composecreate.com/top and then the number 4, no dash between that, and you should be able to get directly to the page so that you can then add that quickly to your cart. Our last special bundle that we have is the Top 10 Music of the Decade bundle. And remember, this is actually 12 pieces. That would normally be $119.88. Well, 15% off is $101.90, but when I saw that number, I thought that's just a weird number. So we just made it an even $99. Didn't figure that you would mind that extra couple of dollars. So this particular bundle of 12 pieces is actually $99. And to get this, all you need to do is type into your URL box composecreate.com/top and then the number 10, and you will be able to get to that page. You can see all the videos and anything, all the details, all samples and things like that, or you can just simply add it to your cart. Again, these specials are good all through this week until 11:59 p.m. on Friday, January the 17th. Now here's how to find other pieces. If you just want to browse, go to composecreate.com/shop and you'll see the categories of music at the top. You can see that you just click on the music category and then you'll go to a new page where you can see that you can further drill down into advancing, elementary, intermediate, and you can browse that way. But if you know exactly what piece you would like to look at, all you have to do is type in the URL into the URL bar. And so the way that we've named all of our music is we say composecreate.com/product/ and then you type the name of the piece with dashes in between. So for example, if you want the Bold Escape, you would write composecreate.com/product/the dash bold-escape. Romp and Raid would be romp-and-raid, and etc. So you can find individual pieces really easily by just knowing that particular nomenclature. Now, for people who were able to attend the webinar live, we did have drawings for those people, and we've already delivered those to people's email addresses. We definitely made sure we got the right email addresses, so if you didn't get one of those, then unfortunately you were not the winner. However, everyone who was live, and we've decided that those of you who are watching the replay can also get our special gift that we created just for this event for you. So you get these snowflake flashcards, and this will be sent to you in a separate email after you've watched this replay. Our system knows and triggers itself when a replay gets watched. And so you will get these in your email. And these are the cards that you can stand up between the piano keys so that you can make sure your student knows exactly where the note is, not just the name of the note. Or you could use them as a matching game. There's all kinds of ways that you can use these flashcards. But we wanted everyone who attended live, and then those of you who put the effort into attending the replay, we wanted to make sure you got this too, because this whole thing was just a little strange in terms of all of our technical difficulties, and we wanted to be sure to tell you how much we value your time and appreciate the fact that you did go to the effort to watch this. So thank you so much. We also had a bunch of questions at the end, and I tried to answer those to the best of my ability. Since we're redoing this recording, though, I'm not going to play those questions simply because the audio and the technical difficulties had started again at that point. But if you have any questions at all you have to do is email me. You can email support@composecreate.com, and I will always answer the emails that you send. So feel free to send any questions that you might have. So thank you again for coming to this webinar. Thank you for your patience during the technical difficulties, and we hope to have an even better system for you next time. We'll definitely be working on making sure that that's going to be even better next time. But thank you so much for your support for my music. You guys are just the most fantastic group of teachers that I can even imagine, and I'm so glad to be surrounded by such a supportive group of teachers. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for all your support and for using my music.